Testing, testing. 1, 2, mic check. I'm here. I'm a little big, but I'm here. Yep. Thank you, Nos. Flaccid. Thank you for the shout out. I took all of 2 minutes to change the colors on this, so you gotta go big for the trade deadline, right? So like we said, new background, top left of your screen. We have the trade deadline clock. Midnight Eastern is the deadline. So as trades roll in, hopefully we'll get some more. We've got a few confirmed trades that we're going to share here to start. Some rumors. Very excited for this. Just do the quick spiel. Although we'll be revealing and discussing trades tonight, as always, this is primarily a viewer call-in show. So if you want to hop in, voice your opinion either on some of the trades that we'll be sharing as the night goes on, trades you might have liked to see, anything else, as we are basically at the mid-season point of the regular season. Mid-season point? Middle of the regular season? You get my point. Anything about the league as a whole 3 weeks in, how playoffs are looking, pods, tripods. We can get into that too. And Tyree, I appreciate the gifted sub. Alright. I think it's time that we reveal our first rumor of the night. And that rumor is quickly going to turn into an actual trade. Adrian Wojnarowski tweeting, the Green Beans incredibly active. Currently sitting, I think, like 15th in the standings. Obviously, Blob not happy with where they're at. Just about his entire team on the block. Multiple teams have been engaged in trade discussions. And I am very excited to announce Woj again confirming that the Green Beans have made 2 massive trades. Richie going to Weed the People in exchange for MC. Massive. PK getting sent to the Powerpuff Girls in exchange for Smoji. Poet making his first big move as replacement captain of the Powerpuff Girls. Massive moves. I mean, and you gotta start here. I like MC a lot. Richie going to Weed the People. I mean, that is insane, dude. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, I think a much better two-way ball than MC is. And by the way, Weed the People, #1 team in the standings. Hello? So I think they upgrade here pretty clearly. I think Richie does fantastic for them. This might, I think Anti said Omni's carrying from his off position. Let me confirm that. I know Anti's in chat. Where are ya? Yeah, so he's carrying as a D-ball, potentially allows Omni, frees up Omni a little bit with Richie on defense. I mean, that is just a massive move. I mean, there's no other way to put it. The #1 seed upgrading, I think you could argue MC is probably their 4th ball, either him or Nipple, right? I mean, that's just huge. The second trade on this was PK for Smoji. I think PK is a better player than Smoji is. I don't know that that's up for debate. But again, if you're Blob, and it's kind of the situation you run in it's just hard when you're at the bottom of the standings and you want to make changes. No one wants to swap equivalent value with you because you're bad, right? So there's this negative perception on your players. So it's like, why would I trade active, for example, for PK when we just went 4-1 against Ball Too Well, we went 3-2 against Sugar? You know, why would I trade active for PK when I think they're roughly equivalent? So maybe it's harder on Blob to find trades when he wants to make changes when he's at the bottom. So I think both trades not quite in Blob's favor. We the people, I think, winning theirs, and Powerpuff Girls probably get ahead on theirs. But again, you're at the bottom. You got to make changes. It's a tough spot to be in. But big moves, and I love to see that Blob's just not sitting there content to be 15th. Again, even if I don't think the trades are totally balanced, he's trying, which I really appreciate. So big fan of the effort from Blob there. I think this cements We the People as the #1 team in the league. Alrighty. Really good first trade announcement. I had heard rumors throughout the last day or two that, you know, the Green Beans was looking around. I knew that Anti-Re had potentially been hoping to make some changes. There was a rumor that We the People was trying to reunite their Mooper squad from last season. So I heard them, they were making offers for PK, they were making offers for Aster. That's not how it works out. They end up with Rick instead. I think Anti-Re is very happy with that. Incredibly happy with how that turned out. Even if he doesn't reunite the Mooper squad from season 31. Couple other you know what? Let's go. I have another rumor, but it's kind of dependent on this initial trade. So another trade for you all. Toxic Gossip Cap Train trading Sevens, aka Saint Bernard, to the Converse Ball Stars for Chucky, aka THC. And this is the part that I thought was really interesting. I see. So again, it's not really 3-team trade, but what Tag Prof was attempting to do here, they were trying to flip. They were trying to get Arby Bear for Sevens from ICP, and then flip Arby for Mr. Awesome. That's not how it worked out. Well, and that's what I'm calling essentially the 3-team deal there, which I think would have been really cool. That doesn't end up happening. Instead, it's just a 2-team trade. Sevens for Chucky. Tag Prof is gonna hate me for this. I think he got fleeced. I mean, Mr. Awesome for Sevens, fair trade, 100%. I think that's completely fair. I like Chucky, but golly, dude, I think the difference between him and Sevens, that's a huge difference, is it not? I mean, I don't know. I mean, you go look at TPL, and I had glanced at it after this just to make sure I wasn't crazy. You got Sevens, and again, it's you can't tell everything off stats, right? But Sevens is sits and returns. He's 20th in prevent. I mean, which is, not great. Chucky's sitting at 12th in prevent, not on the return leaderboard. Again, stats aren't everything, and I know the vibes weren't quite working over the Toxic Gossip Cat Train. But I think skill-wise, it's a talent difference for sure. Now I will say, if it is a vibes issue, which is what I've gathered talking to some people, Chucky will certainly help you in that department. I've had that. I've gotten to actually meet him IRL before. Very nice guy. I assume a very nice tag pro player too. And then certainly had some good minor seasons in the past. Is statistically not horrible this season. So Tag Prof saying in chat that Chuck and Jake already have some chemistry. Seven's great defender, not the best instructor. I can buy that. I think I'd rather have the... I still think I'd rather have the talent. But again, I think Tag Prof's probably in a similar spot as Blob is, even though they're a little up higher in the standings. It's like, I think ideally Tag Prof wants to trade Yes. He wants to trade Jake. And I don't... Maybe I'm speaking for him here, but... It's hard to do that because they don't have any perceived value, right? So Sevens is really your only player with a ton of perceived value. And if you think that's where you can make the improvement or the change that you need to make, you go ahead and do it. Yeah, so that was a big one. Gonna follow up. So after this trade, I heard this little nugget. Oh, hold on. You don't get to see that one yet? Oh no, I ended up deleting it because I found out it wasn't correct. But after that trade, I had heard that Nas was attempting to flip sevens for... They were attempting to flip sevens for... I'm losing it now. I'll check my DM, hold on. Yeah, they were attempting to flip sevens for the king, which I thought was like really spicy. It did not end up happening. I heard it got declined, although a lot can happen in the next 45 minutes. But that was exactly right, Yelpa. I thought that would have been super spicy. I would have loved to see that trade get made. I think that trade roughly equivalent in value for sure. So I would have been really interested to see that. So a little disappointed that didn't get that would have been the Ducky. It would have been, yeah. So it was sevens for Chucky was the initial trade, and then there was a potential follow-up sevens for the king, which has so far been declined. Now we can move on to that nuke rumor that I took away from you. Dodgeball potentially on the move. He had just been picked up by Nuclear Jutes through their waiver wire priority. Had heard that Wayne's is attempting to move him. Again, he's overstrict here in minors, so that limits Wayne's options a little bit. I haven't heard anyone biting on that yet. But an interesting... and we're kind of noticing a theme here, where we got in a couple people now who are trying to get players and then flip them right after the fact, right? Which I think is really interesting. Normally, we don't see a ton of that in Tag Pro, so I like the captains are trying to get a little creative with it, trying to get assets that other teams want. Even if in Wayne's case, it's just he had the waiver priority on the majors drop. I think that's an interesting twist on how we normally see trades. Thank you for the gifted sub, Anti-Re. Appreciate that. So that is the nuke rumor. We'll see if anything develops there before the midnight deadline. I can tell you. So we talked about the trade that Green Beans made, trading PK, trading Rick. Everyone was on the block, so that was Squeeb too. I heard potentially Squeeb for Black Magic. My guess is that's no longer on the table. Although potentially Nas could still be looking to make changes here as the deadline closes out. I would assume Anti-Re's goal. Obviously, he can't get PK at this point, but maybe Anti-Re still tries to pursue Aster by trading Nipple to try to get 3/4 of the Mooper squad from last season. We do know that Anti-Re is expecting a 4th child, so he'll be potentially missing some time here soon. So we'll see what the plan is there. far as trade goes, that's really all I've got. I hate to disappoint you. I'll keep the clock up in the top left. And hopefully we get some more trades come in as the deadline approaches. But overall, pretty active deadline so far. And to Kusa's point, big thank you to PK for delaying the announcement so that we could announce them on stream. Alright. So again, I'll repost the Discord link in here. You can join that Discord if you want to talk about any of the trades we've confirmed so far. Again, that's Sevens for Chucky. That's PK for Smoji. That is Richie for MC. Those are the 3 trades that we've confirmed so far. Any thoughts on those? Feel free to hop in the Nightcap Waiting Room voice channel, and we'll get you on stream to share your take. I hate to repeat myself, but the clear winner of the trade deadline so far has got to be Weed the People. I mean, I just can't get over how much of an upgrade that is. I mean, look just the lineup now. It's Anti-Re, Omni, Richie, and Nipple. I think that frees up Omni so much to go play offense, even though he's D-restrict. I think Rick is just such a presence bet there. Gosh, such a good move. I agree. I think CBS got way better as well. I don't think they got as better as We the People did, but certainly a good move for them, I thought. Sevens in place of Chucky, so now the lineup you're looking at: Sevens, Mr. Awesome, Tinderfella, Black Magic. I know Tinder's been playing pretty well. I think you're still questioning him and Black Magic as your 3-4. Certainly your top 2 is much better. Sevens and Mr. Awesome. As you get deep in a playoff run, I wonder if Tinder and Black Magic are gonna be good enough. But I think they have certainly upgraded their roster. And PK, that's a fair question. How has that presence worked out so far? It hasn't really. You're not wrong about that. And that's why it's so hard. Like, even if players' perceived values are better than another, it's also how do they fit into the team, right? You don't hear a lot of talk about chemistry, but it certainly plays a role. If a Black Magic for Squeeb Flip goes through, CBS looking even stronger. I agree with that. We do have Yelpa in the waiting room, so let me go ahead and drag him in here. Hey Yelpa, how are you?
Hey, good evening. Thanks for bringing the warm weather. How are you?
I'm well. What's going on?
Oh, awesome. What did I want to talk about? First, before we get into... Well, I mean, actually, no. Let me stop, flip it, reverse it. So, yeah, you were just talking about We the People.
Yep.
And how you think that Richie is going to be a big upgrade for them, but the question is chemistry. What if I told you that I believe We the People's plan while Anti is out is to play 4D?
I honestly wouldn't know how to respond to that. I have no idea what that does.
Well, I mean, Omni is D-restricted, and Hippopotamus is a natural defender, and Anti-Re, we've seen him play D. He won the Mover Ball last season on D, and boy, he won't be there because, baby, he's got to complete his team at home. And, but yeah, no, that might be the plan.
That would definitely be interesting. We have a CRC member in chat who's very against what you're theorizing here.
Well, it seems like the CRC isn't capable of enforcing their own rules right now, so good luck with that.
Well, I mean, I I don't know. I've never gotten a chance to play against a 4D team. From what I've heard, it's incredibly frustrating. And certainly, I think while Anti is out, frustrating may be the way to go to keep putting some wins together until they get him back, right? So I don't hate it from a strategy perspective.
Yeah. It's just that there's a lot that goes into play in the minds of the We the People War Room, and I was not part of it for this season, but I do know that in the past, whenever We the People looks at these things, they're looking at the history, they're looking at the chemistry, they're looking at past performance, they're reviewing games, they're watching footage, they're watching scrim footage, they're talking to players' ex-girlfriends from high school, ex significant others from high school, I should say, just get a picture of what's going on there. They're like baseball scouts. They do weird things.
Yeah. I think.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah. So I actually wanted to, while we're waiting to see if these other things come in, while we're waiting to see some other people pop into the waiting room to say some nice things to you, I wanted to see, have you had a chance to play pubs recently?
I have.
Since the TPFG update?
Yeah, I was playing some today.
Okay, how's everything working for you? How's everything looking for you?
I really like, so they made that addition to show the map of the world with all the server locations. I think just from a UI standpoint, I really like how that looks. I don't know that functionally does a whole lot, but I think it looks nice for sure. And then other than that, servers have been good on every game I've played. No issues connecting the games, which is always nice. Yeah.
Awesome. If anyone out there is having any issues with their, I see Jarvis's hair. Give me 1 second, Jarvis, please. I promise. He threw me off. But if anyone out there is having issues with your texture pack, please just save your texture pack links, change your texture pack back, and that should take care of it. Can I draft you? I actually asked you if I could draft you into something, and I can't. Jarvis, you play pubs, right? Oh dear God, he's at the dorm party.
Yeah. Jarvis, can you hear us?
Not really. I don't know.
All right, good. Okay. Can you see the trades that have been made or no? Oh, he's gone. All right. Hopefully, we'll get him back.
You know what? Let the kid party. Go drink from a keg. Go make out with a grad student in anthropology. Just have a good college life.
God willing. Oh, what a trip, dude.
But yeah, no. For this next part of what I'm doing as not a TPFG member, I am looking for some volunteers with ears and opinions about game sounds. So if you're out there and you're listening to this and you have opinions about the game sounds and you want to help or at least yell at me for a bit, which some of you do, send me a DM, slide in my DM, say hello, introduce me to your local neighborhood PhD, single redheaded PhD student in astrophysics, and we'll just have a party.
Good deal.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Whee! Alrighty. So while we wait for hopefully more trades to filter in, I am gonna block most of the screen here. Flaccid did me a huge favor. This was one of the discussion points I wanted to talk about tonight outside of the trade deadline. Again, week 3 has been, we finished week 3 on Monday, midpoint of the season. Wanted to know, we see how the standings look.
Guys.
Can you hear me now, Jarvis?
Yo,
You there?
no one is very important. No one is very important.
That's very true. Alright, we've lost him again. Oh lord, that poor man. I think I might have to server mute him. We can't listen to that 5 more times. Anyway, what I was saying was, yeah, you know what? I will take away his stream privilege. Alright. Anyway, Flaccid did me the favor is put together pod statistics for you. Tripod statistics. So I'm going to put those up on the screen. Let me put that underneath the chat box so we can still get your chat in there. We're going to hide the trades for now. There we go. Alright, so I thought this was really interesting. So just a quick look through it. The number one pod is Flaccid's pod, which I think is the reason he did this analysis, right? A little self-serving. And then look at that captive. Average captive of sits. That's what? That's second highest. Just behind Powerpuff Girls, House Freedom Block is ball too well. And Powerpuff Girls, I think a lot of that is sugar driven, yes. I mean, Sugar, I think, has had, before he left minors, I think was leading the league in caps by a decent margin. So not terribly surprising that his tripod has the most caps in it. But Flaccid's pod's super competitive. Our pod also fairly competitive, which surprised me after the start that we had. And I'll be honest with you, results, I don't know, just our start was poor. ICP has been a complete dumpster fire, which I wouldn't have thought. But somehow we've got the second highest average place between all as compared to all pods, which I thought was interesting. Captive is horrendous, but definitely interesting. I will say I don't think this is, and it might, I can't remember what season it was. Maybe it was season 28, 29. We did divisions, and it was like Thundercaps and Harlem Globetrotters, and like all the teams in their division were just like stomping the rest of the league. We're clearly not seeing that here. Even the Papranos and We the People, even though they're 1-2 in the standings, I don't know that they're necessarily dominating people. Like again, the full Rotato squad got the scrim. We the People, of course, this was prior to getting Rick G, but we were competing and winning a couple against them, so I don't think, I don't think they were super dominant. That probably does change with Richie on the squad. But yeah, an interesting look at pods here. So thank you, Flaccid. I don't know that there are really any big surprises here. Like even if the individual teams are surprising, like ICP, again, I didn't expect to be so low. I was surprised to see House Freedom Block is up so high. So a couple teams not finishing, not in the standings throughout, halfway throughout the season where that I thought they might be. But I think pod-wise, this is about what we expected. Preseason, I thought We the People and Papranos were Mooper contenders, and here they are, pods. The best pod in the league seemingly. Felt pretty good about my team. Felt pretty good about Refined's team and ICP's team. So our pod's competitive. I will say Converse Ball Stars, theirs, I was not as confident. But they're turning out a pretty decent pod performance, to be honest with you. CBS, OPH, Microphone Hunt. I don't know if we got to talk about the OPH Mike Hunt trade, if that happened after the last Nightcap. I thought Clue for Rudy. I think it was Mike Hunt that got Clue. I thought they really won that trade. Like, to me, last season, it felt like Clue was the better of those two defenders. on that OPH team. So, and then when Micon traded for Clue, they like immediately won a series, and OPH continued to struggle. Who did to Flaccid's point? Who did Rudy and Co play against this past week? Okay, well they played the Boosty Boys, all right. So let's not get too excited. I mean, you know, yeah, I don't know if that team's terribly good, which is weird because they got some good players, and in the past couple of weeks they haven't been horrible. You know, like Boosty Boys. Well, I'm wrong actually. They got smoked by CBS, and then they won 3 out of 5 against Mike Hunt, who have shown to not be like a super great team. So yeah, maybe just not a very good team at all. Got better removing Ted, the D, and Hudo. Yet that made sense to me, Nameless. That definitely made sense to me. And honestly, I would have thought if that's not how you had it when you first made that trade for Hugh, I'm kind of surprised that isn't how you had it to start. I think from what I've seen, Hugh brings a lot of value as an offender, and Ted, from what I've seen, I've always seen Ted play defense, and I always thought he's been alright at it. You know, Ted's similar to Rudy on defense, I feel, in a lot of ways. I don't know if you agree with that. I haven't been able to captain both of them, but just my impression, that's how I see him. Oh, but back to Boosty Boys. Oh, that's just tough, man. I mean, Vic is your carry ball. You know, he plays majors. But Bubbles, I think, clearly isn't doing enough. Spear and Ball of Fame. I think both hyped, you know, not call-ups, maybe not the right word. Spear had played minors some last season and performed pretty well. I think Ball of Fame maybe got loaned for a week or two last season and played pretty well, but first season with full minors minutes, I don't know that's been very good. Yeah, Nameless, I would say Hugh was definitely one of my my options for offense. That goes back, I think, to season 29 with the kneecappers. We either had to loan Hugh for a week or needed to borrow him for scrims for something. He filled in on offense for us, and I thought he played very, very well. Can't say Bubbles hasn't done enough without mentioning that ASAP has him on the trade block. True. He is on the trade block. It's hard to keep track. It's actually been a really active trade deadline, not just like people being offered for trades, but at, you know, confirmed trades as well. Yes, Hugh on Joji, that's right. So anyway, and I think Flaccid ended up giving me the entire standings as well. So I'm gonna show that really quickly. Yeah, and again, I think a couple surprises here as we hit the midway point. Your top two, I can't remember if I thought Harlem was going to be any good. Let me check their roster really quick. Yeah, so that's Jur, Glad, Jazz, and Worth. I don't think I thought terribly highly of them. But not too much of a surprise to see them so high up in the standings, and that's with missing Jazz for a week, by the way. Top two only there from beating up on Green Beans, lol. I don't agree. Well, I mean, that's obviously true to some degree. You've only played 3 games so far, right? 3 series. But I think anyone could have told you those 2 teams would have been good, regardless of whether they're beating up on bad teams or not. And to some extent, to some extent, beating up on bad teams is what a good team does, right? Name was saying maybe green beans actually were not that bad. I don't know. I think a minus 37 over 3 weeks is pretty indicative, even if you are playing really good teams. Like, I mean, you go back and look at some of their scores. For example, versus when they played Weed the People, they got swept. They let up 7, 5, 6, 8, and 10 caps. You're not a good team if you do that. Now, if they got swept and they were giving up, I don't know, say 5 a game, 4 a game, and they're losing by 1 or 2 here, or maybe there's an OT loss, then you can say, oh, these good teams are taking points, a bunch of points off them, but they're still, maybe not as bad as the record suggests. I think with the scores that they've had, they're as bad as the record suggests. They played week 3 against Propranos. They gave up 12, 5, 6, 5, and 2 get those games to get shut out. It's tough, man. They're bad. Next topic. True. I do have Costanza waiting in the waiting room, so let's get him in here. What's up, Coos?
Hey.
What's going on?
I've got content ideas for you. I'll play. You want to spin the wheel of content ideas?
Absolutely.
So, surprise versus disappointment would be fun to do. And then also, we should take a look through Tag Pro League and determine if someone's stats are real or fake.
Explain that to me a little bit.
So, I don't know. Okay, we get what we're watching, right? HD has this giant lead in terms of returns.
Yep.
That's real because we've seen him play, and he literally just goes and does every little single thing across the map.
Yep.
But I'm trying to think of.
I'm gonna challenge you a little bit on that. Yes, he is good. He is that good, but you go back and watch. I was watching Dird stream his game, and I don't know who was in that commentary booth this past Monday, but they made the point that I don't know if selfish is the right word, but a lot of these returns and tads that he's getting are in some way could be potentially hurting his team. And I mean, it's I think to your point, he's definitely skilled enough to get that number. But I think there is an argument to be made that maybe getting that number isn't necessarily beneficial to his team. And they lost. I think they went 2-3 against Refine's team, or maybe 1-4, whatever it was. I think there maybe is an argument to be made there.
He plays for House Freedom Blockus, correct? Or is that Refine's?
Correct.
No,
yes.
Refine's team is Boston Tea Party.
Yeah,
so
Refine's Boston Tea Party. Yep.
So, Refine's team won 3 out of 5.
Yep.
And that was against the offense of Boogie and Gospel, right? Yeah. So that's one offense, super grabby. His second week was against ICP, so that's RB that's Beast and 2P.
Yep.
I mean, medium grabby. I don't know. I thought it was curious that I looked at that lead and he's got 262 and CB's the next one, but he only has 189.
Yeah, I mean it's an absurd difference.
It's
There's no
insane.
doubt. Yeah, it's absurd.
Insane.
But you would think if someone is that dominant, if they're getting that many returns, that many tads, their team, they wouldn't lose a series 2-3. I mean, Refine's team's not bad.
No, we played Refine's team last night. They were pretty solid.
Yeah, but I mean, you should be wrecking people with those numbers, and they're not.
I think we've got to stop thinking about individual stats in this game.
Agreed.
The way we do.
Agreed.
Because, for instance, so House Freedom Blockus has 46 caps against. The Propranos have the least by far with 37. But, I mean, it's tough to gauge when you've got some of these teams at the bottom of the list that give up 70 and 80. because we've played, what, 15 games at this point?
Correct.
And then... so
And oh, by the
15
way,
divided-
those stats on
recaps
Tag
game.
Pro League, they only count 12 games.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm looking at that. That does look weird.
You know,
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of people who don't have really good stats right now that are still playing well. I mean, that's tough to gauge because there are just so many people with stats that, like, Gasp is kind of useless once you get past a certain point.
yeah, and not to toot my own horn a little bit, and I'm really not rotating as much as I maybe wanted to preseason. But certainly, I'm not putting up massive stats in any category. But I think right now, the form that we're in, we're, a top quarter of the league team. And certainly none of us are doing anything really fantastic statistically.
No, you're the top, I think, on your team from the looks of it.
Yeah, I mean, Jarvis is top 5 in returns. He's not even on the prevent board. And I'm like 17th in caps,
Yeah, I just think it's one of those things. I was trying to think of, ways to have some fun with it. But yeah, the whole idea between like individual stats is really weird because if people go and watch our game against Papranos, which was Eagle from week 2, they dominated us, I think, in terms of hold time. Our prevent numbers were shit, and you look at the week, and we're only down 6 in the overall captive, or no, down 3. So I mean, it's just a very interesting way of looking at it. I mean, you look at some of the teams during the week. They scored 17, but We the People put up 36 that week. Pop Fausti's put up 28 against Nuclear Jukes. But I just thought, I'm sitting there thinking, man, you can still get dominated a little bit and play on the back foot the entire game, and still, like, there's just so many different ways to skin a cat when it comes to this game. Kind of funny.
Agreed, and I think our series against Powerpuff Girls this past week, very similar to how you described your series against Papranos. Sugar had big games in Game 1 and Game 5. I committed to playing a little bit more defense towards the end of Game 1. It had pretty decent success against Sugar, games 2 through 4. But, I mean, he still, because as good of a player he is, he's still racking up, over 2 minutes a hold. He's still got a cap here and there, right? So statistically, it looks like he's having a pretty decent game, but the results changing in that we're winning. So yes, to your point, I think obviously you can't just look at statistics. There's a winning way to play the game fundamentally, I think, that can be lost in the stats sometimes.
I laugh at whenever I see okay, having the 10D gas is a big deal in majors. That makes sense. But I just think I think minors players are able to think about it a little bit more in terms of, I can have a shit game with 9 returns, but if we keep the flag in a little bit more often than we do normally, like, it's a good game for us.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Or even, and for us against Sugar, it was, it wasn't even about keeping the flag in. It's like, let's just not be stupid. Let's stop flaccid grabbing. Let's get ahead. And let's try to win pups. And that was the difference for 3 games. And again, even if he was getting some stats, I mean, we were just doing the little things right, and then ended up winning games for us. So
that's why my thesis that I was going to come to you with is that this season, the most consistent team is going to be the one that wins the Mooper. Because, holy cow, my team can beat anybody in the league, but we can also lose a good 6-1, 5-1 in scrims without, like, even trying. Yep. It's so fun. And so I'm trying to think of who those teams that you've come across might be.
Well, and while you think about that, I think that's also that feeling I think you get is because of how I think it's a function of the lead size, right? Like, you have, for most teams, it's either 1 or 2 really good players and 1 or 2 not so good players. And that leads to that inconsistency, or any given map or any given game that majors player is going to go off for 5 caps, or they don't play as well and then they're losing the game. So I think that talent disparity is what's contributing to that for sure.
What a stat from Water. Last 10 DF to win major, season 25.
Wow. That is a good stat, but I kind of it's the same thing with the NFL passing leader. I think that's less a function of that statistic doesn't it's not an indication of player or team skill. I just think it's hard to win a championship.
It's about a game state. If you're a team that doesn't hardly ever keep the flag base, of course you're gonna have a few more returns.
True.
Although by that metric, you could still have someone like HD, who I think gets a lot of returns in base. He just happens to also get almost every single one in the middle of the map too.
Yeah.
Other question for you: I'm trying to think of what's been the most, most potential semifinal game that's been played so far. It might be a refined HD game, because that was decided by one, and those teams are both top 5 in the standings right now.
Correct.
But I just think it's interesting. You get to this point in the season, and we really, kind of obvious because of the pod season or the pod scheduling. You just don't see these high-profile games in the regular season.
True. And I don't even know if it's a function of the pod scheduling. Again, we saw the same thing with the 20-team league. What was that, season 29? Just you have six games in a league with 20 teams. The chances that you have one of those marquee matchups is kind of slim to begin with, right?
It's not a wide selection of league by any stretch.
Yeah, but I would agree to your point. We saw House Freedom Blockus against Blots and Tea Party. That's certainly potentially a deep playoff preview. How
does this work? Is it 15 teams make it?
Yep, 15 make it. One gets a bye.
Top team gets a bye, and then there's 3 weeks before No, can't do math.
Well, you have the whatever you call the round with 14 teams. That's your first round.
Yeah.
Then you get the equidistant 8 as your second round. Third round's the 4, and then the fourth is championship.
Yeah, so 3 rounds before you even get there.
Yeah.
Man, minors playoffs kind of hard to win.
I'm telling you, and we've seen it all the time. It takes one bad week for the 10 seed to knock you off.
Yeah.
Or
just think how much world beaters we were once we got Sugar on the squad.
That's exactly right.
Still end up losing to a team that gets hot.
Yeah, and I don't think we're seeing that this season. We talked about the majors drops. Obviously, Poet is replacing Sugar in minors. I think that potentially, to your point about consistency, maybe makes them a little more consistent. I think their top ceiling goes down a little bit. Yeah, Poet's not the carry ball that Sugar is, I wouldn't think.
No.
And then Dodds for Nuclear Jutes. Wayne's dropping himself. We'll see if he ends up trading Dodds or not. I think Dodds as a communicator, from the little I've played with him, is incredibly good. I don't know if he makes a super huge difference like Sugar did for us back then. They probably, they're 5 points out of a playoff spot. They probably claw their way back in there if Dodds plays for him, but I don't know that they're instantly like a serious playoff threat.
Besides the top 2, anyone you can see, excepting our own teams, of course, because our own teams will, of course, make it all the way as well.
Absolutely.
Who else wins? Who has a chance of being good enough to not only beat one of the top 2, but then to probably beat both of them? Right?
Yeah. You got people in chat.
It seems pretty hard for both Weed the People and the Papranos to not at least one of them's going to be in the semis, and probably both.
Yeah. Well, so you got people in chat hyping up Pop Fusties. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name correctly. So that's Cheese Doodle's team.
Cheese Doodle team.
Yeah, I think there's potential there. Trying to look up their entire roster.
The exact same schedule they had. Let's see.
Yeah, so their team's Cheese Doodle. You said they do play the Papranos?
They've played. Pop Fusties have played Papranos, Nuclear Jukes, and then We the People. So they've played the same schedule we have. I think they're in our group. Funny how that works.
Yeah, so to Cheese's point in chat, he says they're picking up steam and de-rusting Tate's time. I'll definitely buy that. Budden's sitting at number 1 in hold right now, and I think we talk
really
about
solid player.
yeah, no, and he's consistently. This is something he's done across multiple seasons. It's kind of a known quantity at that point. He'll outhold just about anyone, which I think obviously helps their defense out.
The defense is good-ish. I mean,
Yeah, I think the
yes,
individual talent's good
I
enough
think
to where they
solid.
could upset one of the top teams in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, it's got to come down to the right day. But we played that same schedule and had an overtime win instead of a regular win. I think like I said, we're a little too inconsistent to really be considered a favorite or even like a contender.
Yep.
But if there's something that clicks, there's potential for us.
I think you put CBS after this trade that they made. They're certainly a team that I think that can compete for a championship, picking up 7s.
Yeah.
And then I'd be curious if you got anyone below top 10 in the standings. Like who's the dark horse that, or who's maybe a likely upset?
Out of that group, I mean, it's just so tricky to gauge what could happen if you get both like 3 things that have to happen, right? Like 2P and RB playing really well, and then Beast not trolling. Like the issue so often is like, and I mean, it's the way I play too. Is like Beast will do things that like just you're like, man, how do you make that mistake? I don't know if that holds them back. Like all those teams from like OPH down, I am curious to see what happens with Tag Prof now.
Yeah.
I
said, I don't think that trade was very good for him.
So that was Chucky. Yeah, I mean, like, you're getting a better straight defender in 7s. I think, I mean, no talks. This is not like what do you call it? Betraying confidences either. It's just like, I think 7s is one of those players where like if you get him in the wrong situation, he kind of will bring the mental down a little bit.
Sure, and I've heard that from a player that the vibes were
he's a good
fantastic.
player.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to betray confidences in saying that, but just I mean sometimes trades get made for non-tag pro reasons.
True. Comments from Waterwheel. He likes the ball too well with when they get Eldon back.
Yeah.
They dropped Thor for Freak, who's killing Novice right now. So potentially a nice pickup for them on defense.
Well, and then what's the situation with? Oh yeah, so the key with them is you get someone like Marcus, who like is pretty solid, like can definitely handle mechanically this level. But then, what's gonna happen when they've got to go up against like a team that actually has 4 thinking players at the same time?
Yeah. I do question. I've not heard Freak Com before. I do question who's the calmer in that team is going to be. From what I understood, it was Robiny, who is no longer on the team. And Eldon, famously, does not talk.
No, not talking.
Sounds like
by
Taylor
nature,
doesn't talk either. So I'm questioning who's actually talking on that team. And if you're counting on a rookie novice player to be your main communicator, I think we're in trouble, dude.
I mean,
so that'd be my biggest concern, even with Eldon back. Even if Eldon substantially improves the defense, that's what I'm worried about.
I would suggest the top 8 by the end of the season will be like the top 5 right now. Top Fusties might move up. You guys might move up. We might move up a little. But then, like, what even is important seed to get? Like, the 1 seed is like the most important. Then after that, you still are getting. Like, I'm trying to figure out where the drop off is.
Oh, hang on. I've got Jarvis maybe for real this time. Alright, Jarvis, this is your chance.
A triangle on the fucking floor on the road, and there's a block on it.
Triangle! Dude,
Talk
stop.
to me.
Walk to the fucking triangle.
Wait, you have to wait. That's kind of weird.
Jarvis, thank you for the input. Alright. Oh, goodness gracious, Jarvis. So sorry to interrupt your top 8 talk. Please continue.
No, I'm trying to figure out, like, if you're a top X team, who are you trying to avoid? I guess it's too early to tell with all the trades, but like, I think any of those top 10 teams right now, like, they're gonna be tough outs. And so, like, really getting that top, like, the difference between a 4 seed and a 6 seed could be a big deal.
Yep. No, agreed. I will be curious, in between. Well, I don't know. Maybe I talked about it last night, Cap, but there's the mechanic that got approved for that number 1 seed to choose whether they want to buy or not.
Oh my god, please, no, stop.
I'm really curious to see how that ends up playing out at the end of the season. I could definitely see Tyree memeing about not taking the buy and then actually not taking it. And I wonder if these captains think there's some truth to this idea of rust. Like you would in a real sport, and potentially passing that buy down further than we thought it might go.
Here's the thing: if the 1 seed declines, it should immediately go to the number 15 team, because that way, it would still end up rewarding the number 1 team, because you'd still have to play the number 14 team. Plus, you'd put the next lowest seed in the other round. Come on, what were people thinking with that?
I don't know. I think it's a fun little twist that they added.
Now, what would be more fun is if they made you do some funky stuff with the maps based off of the buys, but there's only so much that can be done. I don't know. Anything to rule the roofs over? Let's get some other voices involved. Thanks for indulging me.
Yeah, thank you, Goose. Appreciate you stopping by. Alrighty. Yeah, to Goose's point, again, feel free to hop in the Nightcap Wedding channel in the Picarious Discord. I will post the link once again in the Twitch chat. Go ahead and join the voice channel. I'll drag you into the stream. Share your take about anything. The trades, the rumored trades, the season so far. We haven't talked about home maps really any. After a really bad first week, I mean, I think home teams won 3 out of 9 in week 1. They kind of rebounded in week 2. Not sure how week 3 went, actually. I know we lost on ours, so it's not a very good start. If I'm reading this correctly, looks like home teams lost a ton on their home map again in week 3. Can confirm there's a trade. Yeah, can we break that live? PK, get in here. Oh, this is exciting. Get in here, PK. And they are really sneaking this in by the deadline. We're a minute and a half from the deadline here, so they're getting it in last second. I know Nameless had said in GM's chat a few minutes ago that he was feeling impulsive, so maybe something related to that. Let's get PK in here as soon as he hops on Discord. Yeah, I think it's an OPH trade, just from what I'm seeing in GM's chat. There's PK. What's up, PK?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. What is it?
First of all, you can hear me, I hope, right? I gotta talk quietly, cause I gotta be at the stream.
Yeah, no.
My fiance's got her mom and her best friend over, cause she's doing wedding dress shopping this weekend, and I gotta flex that in the time that I ran this league, I somehow managed to get a girl. Didn't know it was possible, right? Like,
well, congrats.
Yeah, it turns out that you can actually do that, right? Who knew? So the trade that we've got here is not with OPH actually.
Ooh.
It's with Ball Too Well and the Boosty Boys.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The Boosty Boys are gonna receive Elden, and Ball Too Well is going to receive Bubbles.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting.
And given that it is midnight and nothing else is submitted, I can say that the trade deadline is closed, and that is the last trade off the window.
Thank you, number 1. Number 2, do you want to give quick thoughts on your new team before you go, or?
Yeah, I mean, like, so you said that, you know, we, you know, or I guess they, right, took the L on the trades, and you're obviously familiar that I reached out to you with some trade offers.
Mhm.
You know, I'll say we, right, we were in a situation where the lineup we had individually and on paper was pretty good, and the results were not there, right? Like, you can't, as I said in chat on your stream, right? When you give up the Hitler number of caps in 3 weeks, like something's gotta give.
I don't disagree.
And so, D, frankly, we needed a change. Offense, Squeeb is a great guy, but we like the plans that we have on offense, the things that we do, like they weren't sort of lining up, right? So I'm excited, and I also feel like the Green Beans are in a better spot. If Blob had gone out for drinks with friends like he said he was going to, then I was going to, like, he had given me trade authorization if he was gone, and so I was quite literally going to trade myself. So I guess I'm glad that it didn't come to that, but like I was going to trade myself tonight if he was gone. So
That's hilarious. All right. Well, I appreciate you breaking that last trade for us. And
yeah, of course, thanks for putting this on. We're better off as a community with having you, and hopefully maybe other people will contribute when you do your next 18 thoughts and whatnot.
all right, appreciate it, man.
Cool. See you around.
Alrighty. Yeah, so last trade of the night. Eldon from Ball Too Well to the Boosty Boys for Bubbles. So that's interesting. No sweat. Thank you for the follow. Gosh, we just talked about Ball Too Well and what we thought Eldon did for them. This is interesting. So now you look at Ball Too Well's roster. If I can find them, you have Taylor and CB. That doesn't change. Freak on defense. So unless you're not asking Bubbles to play defense, I wouldn't think. So now you're looking at it's CB and Freak on defense, Taylor and Bubbles on O. I don't hate it, to be honest with you. See if Bubbles can find his form. Maybe a change of scenery helps them out. I don't hate that. We talked about communication issues potentially. I don't know that Bubbles solves that either. He's not a huge talker, and well, maybe that's not. I don't know that he's an effective talker. I think he'll talk. I just don't know how beneficial it is. And then you look at Boosty Boys, who clearly needed to make some sort of change. They trade Bubbles to get Eldon, so you're probably looking at Eldon Ball of Fame defense, Fit Spear offense, which I think is good in that it puts Vic. I think it puts, because Vic was playing D, right? So now he goes back on offense, which is, I would say, his better position. That will certainly help Spear out to have a partner like Vic. And then we'll see if Eldon and Ball of Fame can get it done. I question it. The comms, I don't know how good Ball of Fame is on the mic. We'll see what the comms look like. I don't know how good Eldon is. Again, she's had to miss 3 weeks worth of games, so we'll see if she shows up in any form that's any good. Oh, I'm sorry, they did drop. They don't. Who did I screw up? I'm sorry. Yes, they have Marcus. Let me back up. I got my teams confused. Back it up. So, what's your offense there then? You go Marcus. If only the hub was updated, I could have been spared this. So you got Marcus. Well, then who's your who's your second defender? Am I crazy? Bubbles is definitely playing O. Marcus is playing O. So does Taylor play defense in that case? Unless you intend to play Bubbles on defense, which, You know, I think he's played there once or twice. I don't know if that's where you want him. My best guess is that Taylor starts playing defense there, which is interesting. Huh. Ha. Yeah, that's an interesting one. We'll have to see what the lineup looks like. I think, again, from a talent point, they're better, right? Very interesting. But the 3 offenders doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It has to be Taylor playing defense. It has to be. Yeah, Taylor CB makes the most sense. And I'll be honest, so we played ball too well week 2. I thought CB was not good. Like for CB to be drafted, he was 58 tag coins. He was not the player he needs to be. So even with Taylor besides him, I don't know if that defense is any good. But I think the team composition overall is probably stronger. I don't know, that's weird. It's a weird one. We'll see how it works out. What an ending to the deadline. Snuck it in. I love that. So I think we can probably start to wind it up unless anyone else wants to call in. Again, you can join the Nightcap Waiting Room VC in the Picarius Discord. We'll drag you in if you want. I think just to summarize the big winners here. I think it's Weed the People. I think it's CBS. I guess Nuclear Jutes. I think they're happy, even if they were trying to move Dodgeball. You know, that's an improvement for them. Yeah, but yeah, it really seems like Weed the People is the big winner tonight, and it may be that I eat my words and Rick is terrible for him. But just on the surface, that seemed like such a clear win for me. Yeah, and again, I thought CBS getting 7s was a huge coup as well. Didn't have to give up Mr. Awesome to get him. So, and I think all of you viewers are big winners too. What an exciting trade deadline. Really glad that we got to do this live. We have, hold on, I do have Yes in the waiting room. Let's get Yes in here. Hey, Yes.
Yo.
What's going on, man?
Let's talk about the trade.
Yeah, let's do it.
Why are you so, set on it being a loss for us? I'll start with that.
I'll repeat myself a little bit here. Again, I'm not in your locker room, quote unquote. But I think from a pure talent perspective, I think Sevens is so clearly a better defender than Chucky is, and that's where I'm coming from on it.
Yeah, fair enough. I think mainly the entire motivation was like locker room stuff you can't see if you're just watching.
Yeah, and there's no question that definitely plays a role in how much success a team can have, you know.
Yeah. Some more than others, definitely.
Yeah, so I don't disagree with the fact that this maybe helps your team chemistry. I know it's weird. Like, even if it helps you guys improve, I think if the vibes work out with CBS, I think the amount that they improve by gaining 7s, I think outpaces the amount you guys improve by fixing your locker room issues, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I was kind of looking at it as a win-win trade rather than a one-side win. Like, in my mind, both sides end up winning. Like, both sides have improved from the trade. That's kind of what you want every trade to be, but a lot of them do.
That's certainly a fair point, and it's not like you guys were, I don't know, where were you in the standings? You were 12th. So I mean,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah. So like you're towards the bottom anyway. It's not like I don't know. Like it's not like it. I don't want to say hard to get worse because it obviously can get worse. But it's not like you
easily.
guys can
It
just
might.
like you're not throwing the season away. You know.
Yeah, we might get worse, but it'll also be more enjoyable,
Sure.
even if we are worse. Because, yeah, it was just, yeah, the comms were very stressful the entire first 3 weeks, it felt like.
Yeah. No, I've been there. It's not fun.
Yeah, like, you can't say any... I'm not saying it's a locker room cancer refined. Not saying anyone is.
That's the rumor I'm hearing.
Nah, it's just difference in, I think we talked about this before, difference in expectations
Yep.
between players. And then, not much of a communication between each other. So it just kind of end up breaking down and can't really repair it after that.
No, I got you.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if CBS works out or not. I could see it blowing up. Like, they either become a top team and maybe win, or they completely blow up. You never know.
Yeah, and I think
I
that's
could see it going both ways.
yeah, I think it's the fun thing about having the league this big is, and even if they do become that team that is a top team, I mean, it's such a big playoff, and the margins I think between teams are so, I don't know how super tight they are, but they're close enough that like I think an upset could happen any round, right?
Oh yeah,
So
I'm really excited for the first round.
Yeah.
It's gonna be wild.
Yeah, so even if they do become that team, they could very well lose round one anyway, you know, if they get a bad matchup. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any
that's
any other thoughts?
I don't know. Tade Proth is kind of a bitch. didn't want to come on the show. I had to be with his girlfriend, so I had to come talk up our team.
Yeah, you had to do his work for him.
Yeah, for
But
real.
the-
I always do. I make him look way better on O than he is.
I believe that.
Like, you should see our games. I'm doing all the bitch work. Both ends.
I hear you.
That's why Jake has so many caps. Like, it's absurd.
I know it. All right, thank you, guys.
It's fun. Yeah. You have a good night.
You too. All right. Yeah, we'll wrap it up here. I think. Appreciate all of you who tuned in. Once again, really enjoyed getting to do the trade deadline live. Again, thank you to CRC. Thank you to PK for holding off on our trade confirmations so that we could do them tonight. And honestly, I think doing this live kind of contributed to that last trade happening. I think people got excited to get it announced and get it on stream by the deadline. So I thought that was cool. But anyway, appreciate all of you who tuned in. And good luck in your week 4 games, and good luck the rest of the way.